For the additional exercise, I gave you the information that says Aluvani Retail Store sells trading inventory at a markup percentage of 25% on cost price. Now, this is very important to you because you will need this percentage every single time when there's a sale in the cash receipts journal or in the debtors journal. And then I said you are required to use the transactions below to complete the CRJ, CPJ, DJ, and CJ for August 2019. I also gave you a document at the beginning of the week that explains the keywords for every one of these 4 journals. And if you struggled with this exercise, I would recommend you go back to that document. Now I'm going to go through it transaction by transaction. The first transaction was on the 1st of August. It said paid the municipality 1,650 Rand for water and electricity, issued check number 801. Now there are 2 keywords in this transaction that indicates that it's a CPJ transaction. The fact that we are paying means it must go to the payments journal, and a check is the source document for the CPJ. So in the CPJ, you will say check number 801. On the 1st, we are paying the municipality. We don't use this folio column because the municipality is not a creditor, and we only use the folio column here in the CPJ for creditors. Okay, the value must, however, go to bank, and we are paying for water and electricity, so it must go to sundry accounts. I didn't give you a general ledger, so you couldn't do the folio references, and therefore I just blacked them out. The next transaction was also on the 1st. It said, delivered stock to Tombi School, 15,620 Rand, issued an invoice number 32. Now, issued an invoice are the keywords that tells you this is a debtors journal transaction. Because if we issue invoices to customers, it means that they are buying without paying us immediately. Okay, so this transaction should go to the DJ. I unfortunately realized only now that when I changed this exercise to only be a journal exercise, I deleted all of the debtors and creditors numbers. So I just used debtor number 1 for Tombi School. And I will do that like every single time when there's a new debtor, I will just give him a new debtor's number in this exercise. Sorry about that. Therefore, in the debtors journal, it would be invoice number 32. On the 1st, the debtor is Tombi School, and I just made this debtor number 1. Okay, if you didn't get that, then it's okay because I didn't give you enough information. The selling price was given to you as 15,620 Rand, and you had to use that markup percentage of 25% and your cost price formula to calculate cost of sales as 12,496 Rand. The next transaction was on the 3rd. It said, made an electronic payment. Okay, so we made a payment. Therefore, it is a CPJ transaction. Electronic just means that the source document will be bank statements. Okay. To Donga CC. In settlement of an outstanding account. Now, the words settlement of outstanding account indicates that Donga CC is one of our creditors because we owed money to them and now we are paying them back. Okay, because there are no creditors numbers and this is the first interaction with a creditor in this exercise, I just made Donga CC creditor number 1. In the CPJ, you would say bank statement because we made an electronic payment. On the 3rd, to Donga CC, because we are paying back a creditor, we have to use this folio column and call them creditor number 1. The value must go to bank and we're paying back a creditor, so it goes to creditors control. The next transaction on the 7th was cash sales, 6,930 Rand. So cash sales always goes to the CRJ. It has gone to the CRJ since Form 1. And we are receiving money. So it's a straightforward CRJ transaction. The document will be CRR. The date is the 7th. The details for cash sales is always sales. We don't use this folio column because it has nothing to do with the debtor. The value goes to analysis of receipts, but because there's another transaction coming for the day, we don't bank this value yet. However, we need to specify what we received the money for sales. And you need to go and calculate your cost of sales with a markup of 25% as 5,544 Rand. Then also on the 7th, we received a check from Tombi School of 12,000 Rand in partial settlement of their account, and we issued a receipt. Okay, so the words that tell you this is a CRJ transaction is the fact that we received a check, in other words, we received money, and that we issued a receipt. And receipts are the source documents for the CRJ. What happened here is Tombi School is a debtor, and he owes us money, or they owe us money, and now they are paying 12,000 Rand back to partially settle their account. In the CRJ, it will look like this. The receipt number was number 76. You don't write a 7 again because we're still on the same day. Tombi School is the debtor's name, and because it's a debtor paying us back, you have to write the debtor's number in the folio column. Can you remember? I made Tombi School debtor number 1. They paid us 12,000 Rand, and this is now the last amount that we received for the day, so we can total the amount of money in our till, cash up by drawing that thick line, and deposit the full amount into our bank account. And then you have to say the 12,000 Rand was received from a debtor, so it goes to debtor's control. On the 8th, we bought trading inventory from Cougar Limited and paid with a check. The fact that we paid tells you this is a CPJ transaction, and Cougar Limited is not necessarily a creditor or anything. We're just buying trading inventory. So in the CPJ, you will say check number 802 because the previous check was 801. The date is the 8th. The company we are buying from is Cougar Limited, who is not a creditor, so we skip this column. The value of our purchase is 10,000 Rand, and we bought trading inventory. The next transaction on the 12th said we purchased tea, coffee, and other consumables. Okay, so we're buying consumables for the office, 2,650 Rand from Office Supplies Limited, and received their invoice. Now, if we receive an invoice, it means that we were the ones buying without paying. So these words indicate it's a creditor's journal transaction. And can you remember the trick with creditor's journal transactions is that we renumber the invoices. Okay, I actually gave you the information in brackets. I said renumber the invoice to number 10. So in the CJ, you will say invoice number 10 on the 12th. The company's name is Office Supplies Limited. I already had a creditor number 1 in this exercise, so I'm making this creditor number 2. If you got this wrong, it's okay because I forgot to give you that information. Every value in the creditor's journal must go to creditor's control. And in this case, we bought tea, coffee, and other consumables, so it goes to consumable stores. The next transaction on the 13th said issued a receipt. Immediately, you need to know it's cash receipts journal because receipts are the source documents for the CRJ. To Brett & Sons for a payment 5,000 Rand towards their account. So once again, a customer is paying towards their account, which means it's a debtor that owed us money. In the CRJ, it will be receipt number 77. On the 13th, Brett & Sons is the customer's name. We already have a debtor number 1, so I'm making this debtor number 2. They paid us 5,000 Rand. The value will go to analysis, and it's the only transaction for the day, so it goes to bank. Remember to draw that line. And it's a debtor paying us towards their account, so it goes to debtor's control. Then on the 21st, we received an electronic payment. Okay, so we received a payment, which means it goes to the cash receipts journal. The fact that it's an electronic payment tells you the source document will be bank statement. and it's from CD Maple for commission income. Okay, so it goes to the CRJ. The document is bank statement. The date is the 21st. The details of the person paying us is CD Maple. CD Maple is not a debtor, so we don't write anything in this folio column here. Because we receive the money electronically, it will bypass our till. So it won't go to analysis of receipt. It goes directly to bank. If you wrote the value here, then you will be penalized. And we received it for commission income, so it goes to the sundry accounts section. Then we're almost done. On the 22nd, we bought trading inventory on credit. If we buy on credit, you should know it's a creditor's journal transaction. From Repta Limited, 15,000 Rand. So in the CJ, we will renumber the invoice to number 11 because remember we renumber invoices from creditors. The date is the 22nd. The company, our creditor, is Repta Limited. We already have a creditor number 1 and 2 in this exercise, so we make them creditor number 3. The value must go to creditors control, and we bought trading inventory. Trading stock is the same as trading inventory. Then the last transaction is on the 27th. We sold goods on credit. So if we sell goods on credit, it's a debtor's journal transaction. To Brett & Sons, who is one of our debtors, with a cost price of 11,648 Rand. So I tried to trick you here. I gave you the cost price and not the selling price. And now you had to work backwards using the selling price formula to calculate the selling price value at a markup of 25%. I also said here issued an invoice. So these words are once again indicating it's a DJ transaction. In your DJ, it will be invoice number 33. On the 27th, Brett & Sons is a debtor. We dealt with them in the CRJ before and we gave them the number D2. I gave you the cost price of 11,648, and to calculate the selling price you say cost price over 1 multiplied by 100 plus markup over 100 to give you a selling price of 14,560. And then right at the end, I want you to just total all of your journals. These are the totals of the CRJ, and then the totals of the CPJ. You can pause the video if you want to look at it longer. The totals of the DJ and the totals of the CJ. If you struggled with this exercise, go through that document again that explains keywords.